Come on, YouTube, work with me. It says I am live. Work with me, YouTube. Come on. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? 22 seconds in, YouTube lets me know I'm here. I hope you're here. I hope we're all here because I got to tell you, today is September 9th, 9/11. And I tell you what a historic week for all of the worst reasons in the world. And um, as I mumble through this and stuff, right? So it's quite an extraordinary experience to be well aware that you are living in a time and a date and an event that is definitely going to make history books. And I might drop a few opinions here, a few comments, a few sections about what's happened in the past week in Charlotte, North Carolina, a place that I have frequent uh, frequented, went down to quite a bit, probably for over 30 years, for Heroes Con concerts and many other things, to actually have been on the street where that train picked up someone, not to be vague intentionally. And then when we get with what happened yesterday with Charlie Kirk, I'm still processing a lot of those feelings, not only with what happened with Charlie Kirk, but of all the ghoulish nature of people I actually went to school with through Facebook and stuff. And then on top of all of this, that connects it all, there's been a thing with ironic enough, the escapism of comic books and the people who work on comic books and the access. It's actually been like 15 years since I saw the beginning of the veil being pulled away between creator and reader, collector of comics. I was actually on Twitter back in the day and watched it live when Dan Slott pretty much told they're his first reader, they can just fuck off and stuff. And it's been downhill ever since. And what am I getting at with that? We get down here to this person. It's not even their real name, Gretchen Felker Martin. With this person, it's a he. Complete. It's been sent to me. I don't want to pull anybody in this or not. I've had friends send messages to me, 5, 6 messages. Both through text and through messenger, if you will, about this disgusting person. Not even not it, usually I don't go after looks and stuff, but this person is definitely as ugly on the outside as they are in the inside. And comic books are always been an escape to this, right? It's not a silly thing to talk about comic books and stuff, right? Because this is what they do. It's escapism, it's morality stories, it's fantasy, projection, and the way I approach of it, a lot of it, it's actual art, and that's where you get into genres and classifying things, right? And then you have that thrill of the hunt where you go out and sometimes you never know what you're going to find and get your hands on. That's one of the things I actually see kind of disappearing with these claim sales and stuff, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you my haul today because it's a fantastic, happy haul. It's a great and fantastic haul with a little bit of irony, right? I got a few things over the weekend, but then today I ran across some great Silver Age books, mid grade, maybe a little bit lower grade, maybe a little rusted staple here and there. But for what I paid, I put it in the title, $40. I do believe that's what everything came for. Maybe I paid a little $10 too much. Maybe I got a better deal than I thought. I think I got a great deal. These things have been made me happy. So before we get to the $40 haul, I'm going to kind of show you something that cracks me up. I don't know if you're aware in the day and time that we're in now, but books like this, Dazzler #3 with Doctor Doom, the speculators have decided that this is a hot book. I guess because Doctor Doom's on the cover, right? I did an AI search to kind of see. I paid $1 a piece for these, a little low grade. But when I found this, I kind of chuckled. I did an AI search. I actually did an AI search with my Google and was like, why is this book hot? A collectible, and it actually said that it's not. And that I took a screenshot. It actually said that it is not. It's saying that the market is being manipulated by comic book influencers, mostly through YouTube and stuff. And I'm like, even artificial intelligence that eats its own tail, something that cannot create on its own. It has to recycle what it has been taught, no matter how you think about it. Even it is on the grift. You know what I mean? Even it can see through that, right? So for $1, whenever these books become hot, or for speculator reasons and stuff, or what I know as market manipulation, it always kind of cracks me up to go out into the wild and show you that they're out there for $1. You do not have to do claim sales. That's for convenience and stuff, right? And there's nothing wrong with doing a lot of the claim sales. It's just there's claim sales where I'm like, where are they getting their prices? It's unreal. And then we have a beat up copy, definitely a mid grade, probably a good to very good, or maybe a 5.0 for you guys out there and stuff, of Uncanny X-Men number 123 that absolutely blew me away when I found this. I thought this was like fantastic when I found this. Um, and I was just like, where you go? What do you know? You never know. The earliest issue of X-Men that I ever found, and I regret selling it, was issue 97, I believe, right? And at the antique shop that I sold it, it was a raw copy, not even in a bag. And this is like 2010. I immediately flipped it, turned it around, and put it on eBay. And then when the lady at the antique shop was looking at it, and she was looking at the book and she was looking at the cover, she actually saw that the price was 35 cents at the time, I do believe. So I got charged 35 cents, which was fantastic. And then we have some early Marvel John Byrne art, Tigra, the Werewoman. And this stuff versus Red Wolf, this happened last time I was on. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe it's my clothes, guys. Let's play around here. Okay. I think that's an issue with YouTube. Interesting. There we go. That helps. It's probably a focus problem. So anyway, there's a lot of great John Byrne art in this one, guys. Very cool. Very nice. The Soul Catcher. And I am definitely a fan of John Byrne in general. And let's see if we can get this to stop. There we go. I may have to start this if it doesn't quit. All righty. All right. Okay. So that's from a haul at a local mall where they have a card show once a month. Those books, right? Now I may have already shown these next two books before. We'll just plow ahead. I want to have to start wearing bright colors with this. Okay. So we're going to kind of plow ahead here. Let's get closer to me. Sorry, guys, but apparently that's what it's going to take for us to focus tonight. Anyway, so I probably may have shown these, but I'm not sure. We do quite a few hauls and stuff, but I found these at a local flea market also. And I feel like the price was going to be $2 a piece, but after what I bought, they were probably $1 a piece, but we'll say $2 a piece. But just some fun stuff. Batman and Robin Adventures #1 from the Paul Dini, Bruce Timm universe of Batman Adventures, the continuing adventures, and actually written by Paul Dini, one who he's probably almost everything he's ever touched Batman has been gold except for one book, So, and then I found this again, the coveted X-Men Adventures #1, actually a newsstand, since that's a thing, guys. This is probably the second or third one I found in the wild. And like I said, a buck, $2, and this was a hot book, probably because of X-Men '97 coming on and that great '90s nostalgia, which is just fantastic. I'm really kind of glad that we're reaching that point. As much as I love the '80s, and I can tell you all kinds of things about the '80s. There's my Rubik's cube and things like that. It was a great time in comics. I'm very happy I was able to be there during all that history, collecting with comics, everything, and all that stuff. But the Bronze Age is still probably my favorite era of comics to sit down and read. Um, and I can find great things through every era of comics, 60s, 70s, 80s. Recently, I'm really able to finally delve into the 50s, the atomic age, if you would like to call it that, of EC Comics. Um, but there's just great things in every era and stuff. That's kind of where we're at now. We were finally going to go into the 60s here. We are finally into what I got for $40 today, right? So the first thing we have here is Reggie and Me, number 21. Now, Archie's just always been around. I can't remember not knowing Archie from Sugar Sugar on the radio by the Archies. I have the fake band. There was a fake band for all those great songs that came on in the '60s cartoon show. They actually had an album. They had a number one hit with Sugar Sugar. I have the first vinyl, so I'm trying to get at with a great song that I like called Hey Truck Driver. Um, but anyway, but the Archie that I've always sort of liked when I was able to get to them, and this is one where I have a coverless copy. And now I'm finally, since I was a kid, and I'm finally able to have a copy with a cover. Proud One Collector, how you doing, buddy? Right. Glad to see you there. Fantastic. I'm getting into the $40 haul. I showed a few other books and had a few thoughts before, but we'll just plow on ahead. But I actually have this, but now I have one with a cover on it. But it's Reggie and me. But my Archie stories that I like are about Captain Pureheart and Evil Heart and all the Archies when they take on these personas. Um, Man, this is unreal what's going on tonight with the focus, and I don't know what's going on. But anyway, there's just so much fun in these books, as simple as they are. We're you know what this is the era of Archie where it's all family entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So we have Reggie turning into Evil Heart, and the way I used to read Archies when I would get a hold of them every now and then. Um, Actually, to be honest, back as a kid, I was more of a swinging with Scooter kind of guy, and some other book where they were Archie ripoffs at the time, but that's neither here nor there. But whatever I read about with Reggie, I always kind of felt bad that he was cast as the bad guy. I'm not saying he was misunderstood, but even as a kid, I felt like there was a story. You know what I mean? I really overthought Archie. Okay, really overthought it. You don't need to think very hard about Archie. You know what I'm saying? Hey, nice. I just picked up a full Starman run from the '90s for $65 in single issues. You are not going to regret buying that for that excellent price. James Robinson, Tony Harris, amongst other people, Gene Ha, a lot of other people in there. The full run is fantastic to have, from zero issues to 80, but make sure you also get the annuals and the 80-page giant that's out there. There's just a few more things to get there, and you will have a complete and full story. Everything that James Robinson wrote with Starman is pertinent to the main story and stuff, right? As a matter of fact, I think it's the 80-page giant, Phil Jimenez. I think he drew the story I'm thinking of, but there's one where Starman Jack has returned from space, and he had his whole body cloned. No spoilers. I'm not going to tell you what's going on. Um, and all his tattoos are gone, and now he's getting his tattoos put back on in a huge one on his back in a tattoo parlor. And the tattoo artist is sitting there saying, "So let me get this straight. Your dad is Starman. Just started going out and being Starman." He was like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "Well, that makes him a more pure hero. He didn't have to go out for revenge. He didn't have something traumatic happen to him. He just started going out to do what was right. Things like that. It's great stuff." So let's continue with the haul, guys. Right. So we have another life with Archie here, right? And again, I liked the Captain Pureheart stories versus Evil Heart and Jughead, whatever his name was. I like when they're superheroes. I get a kick out of that, right? But there's always been one I wanted to watch because there are times I'm just in the mood for classic TV. I'm not saying I'm a classic TV junkie. I'm not saying I'm a classic TV junkie, but there are times where I just want to be able to close my mind. I'm a huge Avengers fan with Diana Rigg, Emma Peel, as you will, and stuff. And then sometimes some of that 60s stuff, Get Smart. I can handle that very much so. Um, things like that. And then there was one Man from Uncle. And my viewing of Man from Uncle is very limited because it was really hard for me to either find it in reruns or to be home or awake when it was on. So the few that I caught, I'm like, there's something about this show. Kind of like I Spy also, right? So I've actually seen this around. The issue before this is actually, I don't know, about $120 book. The one I have is issue 61. For some reason, issue 60 is, right? But I've always wanted this one. This is when he was the man from Riverdale. Okay. So I want you to understand when you read these Archie books, a lot of them are fantasy or imaginary stories when they do a take like this with what's popular at the time and stuff, right? But they're just fun. They're uncomplicated stories. So much fun, right? And now what we're going to get into now is something that I have a small little collection of these on Blu-ray and DVD. Okay, he's not in this one, but Johnny Quest, those classic Doug Wadley cartoons, those Alex Toth designed character designed cartoons, and their superhero plotted stories. They're little contained universe that you would probably come home during the 60s and sit down and flop down. I assume they came on Saturday mornings, but I've heard tell of the girls coming home to try to sneak and watch Dark Shadows, and then the boys would come in and would be trying to find some Hanna-Barbera cartoons on stuff, right? So what I have here is 3, 4, and 5 of the series of something I would really like to complete. And if I'm not mistaken, now I just need number 1, right? And I cannot believe I got these for a steal because these books usually book for over $100, right? And in the shape these are in, I would probably do 50% of that, right? So for me to find them as cheap as I did today, I about fell down. But we have the Hanna-Barbera Super TV Heroes, right? Each one has a Herculoid story, a Shazam story. As you can see, we have Birdman and Moby Dick. Not real familiar with Moby Dick. But I think I have this one. I can't remember if it's on Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure I have this one on Blu-ray, the complete Herculoids of the 60s. And probably my fascination really started in 1980 because you had quite a few superhero cartoons come on in 80, 81, an all-star show, some kind of all-star show where they brought back new episodes of the Herculoids and Space Ghost, and they put in the Space Teens. And I don't know, there's something, I don't know if, seems like ABC even had something with like, well, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to be all over the place and stuff, right? But Hanna-Barbera were across all the channels, and Filmation was mostly CBS and stuff, right? So anyway, here is, Hanna-Barbera Super TV Heroes, man. These are just fun. I really enjoy these, right? So like I said, I found these characters around 1980 when I was 70. It blows my mind. I can remember Thundar feeling closer now, which I also have on DVD, than that All-Star show. That All-Star show feels much further back in time, while that Thundar show is right there on, and Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends are right on the surface. But anyway, Hanna-Barbera Super TV Heroes. There we have My Tor, some more Moby Dick, and then more Herculoids. And there is a Herculoids book being put out now. I want to say it's by Dynamite. I don't know. Dynamite, IDW. I got the first issue and I was greatly disappointed in it. I was like, okay, I get this is supposed to be the introductory issue and stuff, but it was very weak. You know what I'm saying? And then we have more Shazam, more Birdman, more My Tor, more Moby Dick, as they come in. So yeah, this collection of the person I bought these books off. They bought a collection off of someone. I asked them about it. They let me know that the person just kind of walked in and these had been stored in a garage forever. There actually was a little bit of a gas smell to them, but I rebagged them, got the bags out of there, and it's pretty much gone. It has an old comic book smell. Don't get me wrong. But these were fantastic to find also because there's a villain in here called Howler, the Howler, which my wife said, "Hey, you look like him." But anyway, before we get to that, here's some Jack Kirby greatness, guys. So we have Jack Kirby the Demon. Okay, um, as the lore goes, as I've heard over the years, Jack Kirby with his contract to produce 15 pages a week would kind of have to keep things going after his Fourth World got canceled. New Gods, Forever People, Jimmy Olsen, which I think maybe kept going with a different team. I wasn't there. I was old enough to be there. See who else? What I'm missing one. Forever People, New Gods. Seems like there's Mr. Miracle. Excuse me, Mr. Miracle, and then also we had OMAC, Commandy, these a ton of DC for specials. He did the Losers, and then he did a book that I've heard that he did not want to do. And actually, the stuff in this is fantastic. There's stuff in this that Alan Moore pulled from on his Swamp Thing run. But anyway, we have the Demon, Merlin, and the Demon, and the King Arthur ties, and things like that, right? And the Howler, the monster in this—that's the Howler, guys. There's a creature out there called the Howler. We have our demon go out there on like a night on a horse, probably a nightmare. Get it? Anyway, so yeah, these were fantastic fun. I've gotten quite a collection, and I went ahead and looked up the value of number one. It is now ranking hundreds of dollars. And I'm sort of like, oh, how did that happen? First appearance of the demon is a couple $100. Um, that blows my mind. I don't understand that. Yeah. So this was the one that I actually paid the most for. It's probably half of what you're seeing here that I bought. This probably went on this, and I looked at it, and by no means is this a mint copy. Not that we should worry about things like that sometimes when you're getting such a great deal. And I looked at it; it is complete. There's still a little bit of a glossy feel on it. It is flat, but it has been stored without a bag. And the most important thing is, yes, there is some discoloration and a little bit of a looks like the staples are starting to bleed just a bit, which I may be able to fix. But what amazes me the most is that there is only one defect on a cover that is black from, I want to say this is 1970. I'm not sure, but it is issue 100 of the Fantastic Four. Okay. I have never had this book. There were many Jack Kirby books that were in the home when I was a kid growing up. There were many books that I had taken off in 2010 off. I think I've told the tale before. Two boxes of comics were stolen off the U-Haul that I was loading up in 2010, moving out of Roanoke, Vinton, Virginia, Roanoke. They're so close, I consider them the same place. And it was one of the boxes was my Kirby stuff and many things in there, right? So we've been slowly grabbing things here and there from Jack Kirby's Marvel era, specifically his Fantastic Four. Um, but yeah, I was able to get this a fantastic book. And then if you have Art Adams on any of your social media, you need to go ahead and do a Google search because I am positive that Art Adams took this anniversary issue of issue 100, where you have all these characters on here. The Hulk, the Sandman, the Red Ghost, Dragon Man, the Mad Thinker, and he ended up expanding that. Right, he ended up drawing this humongous, almost mural like drawing. And I remember him posting as he was going into his room and finishing it. He was coming off like he was going insane that he added so many characters uh, around this cover. Okay. He reproduced the cover and then kept going with all these Fantastic Four characters and villains and stuff. Right. And it's out there. I don't know how you can get it right. But yeah, this is one that I cannot recall seeing in the house, okay, when I was growing up and everything. So this was fantastic to have. I just need two epic collections to have all the Stanley Jack Kirby run of Fantastic Four again. Hey, John, what's up? Oh, thank you, John. Thank you. Appreciate that. And so that's Jack Kirby. That's me just kind of gushing. That's me buying back a childhood from a man who was buying back a childhood back in the day. And what I have here now is a very personal book. It's kind of funny to say about a barbarian, right? But it's Conan, right? I've read some of the Conan books. I have the who's who of the Hyborian era, right? That a one shot that Marvel put in. But I'm not the out of despite having the described labeled encyclopedic knowledge of comics and things like that, when it comes to Conan, I know what I like. I have my favorite stories. But the reason this is a personal book is that this magazine, I do not remember it not being in the house. I do not remember not I do not remember walking through any place that we ever lived where one of these magazines wasn't on like a little table somewhere in the corner, or laying in the floor where somebody had just read it beside of the couch and stuff. This was the magazine that was passed around the house, and there was like sort of peace in there. And not only did you get this magazine, but there was artwork on the frontispiece. Right, you go through there. There was little backup stories, little essays, little maps, and things like that. You were able actually to actually study this. And for me, not being stuck on on the novels, the pulp books and things. But so I was stored of Conan, and the Marvel Treasury editions uh, was where I was introduced to the character. I have the Marvel Treasury edition. So to be specific, I'm talking about the magazine I'm about to show you. Okay, Conan the Barbarian #1. There was a run of tons of Conan in this collection that this person had bought off someone. And he already had the #1 pressed, I think he said. He's got it ready to go. He had a couple $100 for it. So I've seen the Conan the Barbarian #1. It came out in 1970, I think. Barry Windsor Smith, Roy Thomas. And to me, that's the true, good grief, man. I'm going to have to figure out why that focus is messed up. But the real start of the the Bronze Age for me is the introduction of Conan. That's just in my head how it works, right? And I will agree with the historians and all the comic book, the actual community out there who built Overstreet and all this stuff like that. That the death of Gwen Stacy is the start of the Bronze Age. Fair enough. Whatever. But for me, in my collecting, it's Conan the Barbarian. So to get away from the Comics Code Authority and to be able to do a bit more mature themes in Conan, they came out with the magazine. And it's basically an oversized black and white comic and stuff, right? So even though we had the black and white explosion of the 80s with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Cerebus getting another, rise with adoration, all the people adoring it and stuff through church and state and everything and high society and stuff. For me, it's the Savage Sword of Conan. These books were everywhere. I remember not reading them. The covers are ingrained in my head. The Frankfurt Zeta covers in general and artwork. This is how I found them. My Elric, just all the fantasy that was back on there where they took the genre serious and stuff, right? So anyway, here's a beautiful copy of #10. Okay. And if you have me on Instagram, you've probably already seen the last book I'm going to show in this, right? It's just I was amazed when I was able to get it for the price that I got it. So make sure you have me on Instagram. There should be a link in the bottom. If not, I'm just Howler Mouse on Instagram. And for right now, if you are new to the channel, or if you are not new to the channel and you already subbed, give it a thumbs up. Get ready to share this. Get ready to give me some comments. Um, and what do we got there? Thomas Bagley. Two of the biggest selling Marvel titles of the 70s were Conan and Thor. Kids love their macho muscle men. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? There is a place in this world for that, and it is needed. You know what I mean? But Conan is just so fantastic. Um, and going through the Savage Sword of Conan and the Conan comics, and then the movie by Oliver Stone that it's so wild because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. That to me, that's where the world finally really did get introduced to Conan, no matter how popular the books were or were not at that time. I'm not the one to comment and everything like that. It all works. It all works. So it really amazes me how the last time that Marvel got the license for Conan, that they just went over the place with it. You know what I mean? I was like, this is not Conan. Dark Horse Comics did a fantastic job with Conan, and I have some of the Titan stuff over there. I found for, if you saw my video where I went to the Charlotte Comic Con last month with Josh, I found a whole bunch of single issues of the Titan series of Conan, so we'll see what happens there, right? But anyway, Savage Sword of Conan to me is my my Conan, if you will, right? Uh, so anyway, we have earlier issues also. We have number 8, and that's a Frank Bruner cover. That blows my mind. Yeah, Frank Bruner. I need to do the research. Did Frank Bruner paint this, or did he do the pencils, the design, and did somebody paint over it? I don't know, right? And for the love of God, I've been saying this on YouTube off and on for 15 years, every now and then. Who is this man? Whatever happened to this man? This is an advertisement to go to college, I'm sure, right? But I've always wondered, who is this? Who is this man? And look at that haircut. Apparently, they didn't know how to layer back then. It was not a thing yet. Layering and feathering were not a thing at this time. But I tell you what, that definitely captures an era in time. Who is this? Does he still have that smile? Now, this is one I'm going to frame. I have 2 frames that I've already taken upstairs that I found at Hobby Lobby years ago. I actually have my John Burns signed Superman over here on the shelf in one of the frames, but they're a little bit oversized, bigger than a comic book, and they're 2 plates of glass with a black frame around them. Let me just go ahead and grab it. Oh, there's a little bit more to that than I thought. And I'll also show you why these aren't being hung up, if you can still hear me. This one has broken while I moved, right? Whoops, hit that camera, didn't I? Yeah, it's all right. So anyway, as you can probably see, it is broken right here on the back. There's my certificate. I'll probably need to switch this bag out now, right? This is my John Burns signed Superman. And what's amazing about that is John Burns signed the cover. I've heard tale of people meeting him, and he would be like the proper place to sign a comic book is on the front cover. So I have that. That camera, man. And then I have this that has not broken, but this is a beautiful Brian Bolland cover of Judge Dredd. And as you can see with the frame, this is what I'm saying. It's glass, but it is brittle. And when you put it against the wall, the back of the wall comes on there. So if you have a white wall, it really kind of stands out. So I'm thinking about taking these Conan magazines, especially this beautiful one with the Boris cover, and maybe sticking it in here. A little bit bigger size in there between 2 panes of glass and hanging on a wall somewhere where the sun does not shine. Because this number 9 is a beautiful, beautiful copy, besides a little bit of wear on the edges there and stuff, right? That Boris cover is just unreal. And then we have number 3. Man, these covers, these painted covers from the 70s, man. The horror magazines they had back then, the album covers, just the art, the artist, and those pulp feels of the art, and just the amazing stuff that they did, the colors and everything just blow me away. One of these, Walt Simonson from 1975, has done some art. Gil Kane is in here. There's some Neil Adams, John Severin, Marv Wolfman was a consulting editor. Believe it or not, Tony Isabella is, even though he's known as Jimmy Blake now. Okay, so you know, so many people did these, and just recently, cannot remember who said this, but basically they were saying that when it came to Roy Thomas getting writing credits for adapting a lot of these stories, he would just have the paperback of Robert E. Howard, and he took a highlighter and he would highlight the sentences that they wanted cover in the book. So Roy Thomas pretty much, I always wondered how he was so well read with a lot of the adaptations he's ever done, right? And then this was the one that I could not believe I got earlier in the week for $5. I was asked, what are you comfortable paying? And I looked at it with the condition it was in. It's a little dirty on the back. You know, it's been in a garage for years and stuff, right? But after I got it home, cleaned it up a little bit, it's a beautiful copy of Savage Sword of Conan, number 1, guys. Okay. Now, the legend in lore, the grapevine, if you will, this is the first time Red Sonja was wearing her chainmail armor. I can neither confirm nor deny that at this point. I need to do a little research. But this is the first time in a long time that I've had a comic, well, excuse me, a magazine, if you will, that I have found myself drifting down the steps down here just to kind of look at this, right? That I've got it. It's a book that I didn't even know could be a holy grail. And for you guys out there, this is the YouTube channel that brought the term Holy Grail into your great comic book community out there that people have been misusing. Holy Grail stands for the one comic that you find precious and is most wanted or most valued in your collection, not just monetary value. It's a grail. That's why there's only one grail, guys. That's the trick. Johnny Quest Gold Key book is my grail. I was able to find that, right? I'm getting to wonder if this was the grail. You know what I mean? It's a book I never imagined I would find. The 70s magazines, the magazines of heavy metal, the magazines of Epic Illustrated, the magazines of 1984 slash 1994, 84, 94. These magazines I could pull out of these books. The covers were very brittle. They tore away from the staples very easy and stuff. And luckily, this one is in the day where they made them square bound, so they stayed together much better. But I was very surprised. In my house, I can't say if we had Conan, Savage Sword of Conan #1, but what we did have, I believe, was Savage Tales #1 that had that cover with Conan holding a decapitated head. I remember that very, very well. I was just sort of like both horrified and fascinated that someone would paint that. Like, how do you have that imagination? Why would you do that? It's so brutal. You know what I mean? There's a lot of thought going into what did this mean? You know what I mean? And then, of course, I ended up reading it. And I swear, I think that's the first appearance of Man Thing or Howard the Duck. I'm slipping, guys. I'm slipping. So, anyway, I'm very happy I have not had this feeling in forever of finding a book in the wild. I'm not kidding. I found myself just wandering without thought down my steps and just finding myself coming down there and just looking at this like I have a Savage Sword of Conan #1. And like I said, I know it's not that big a deal, but I'm really surprised with my reaction. So let's look at a few comments, guys. Hey, what's up? To the biggest Thor. Nice haul. Thomas Bagley. I love those old Boris Vallejo covers. Exactly. The guy looks like the Timmy version of Dick Clark. Oh, that's funny. And Joe Jusko is also an iconic Conan artist for me. The other Conan book that I want to go ahead and frame is a Joe Jusko cover from 1986. But seriously, man, it's Conan. Now we're gonna have to end this if this keeps up. It's Conan wearing a Speedo of all things and a horned helmet with his arms held out with a sword, a dark blue background. He's in the rain. Okay. It's a very cool cover. It's a Jisco. So yeah, the Boris and the Jisco covers are the ones I'm probably going to frame and find some wall for them. I'm also probably going to paint this wall over here where I have all these things hanging up. All right, guys. So, of course, with the technical difficulties, that makes it a howler video. I have the rest of my life so together. I don't understand why I can't get these electronics going correctly or whatever's going on. The gremlin in here. I probably brought a comic in that was cursed from a cursed collection or something. Who knows? Maybe it jumped into electronics. So anyway, guys, read your comics. Be safe. Thanks for being in here. Thumbs it up. Share the video, tell your friends, let everybody know that there is a place where 99.9% of the time we are talking comics. We are reading our comics. And we're escaping from a world that can feel very too real at times. Okay. So the ghoulish nature of people. Okay, guys, be excellent to each other. Later, guys. Sanctuary. There's not a better way to end this, Thomas Bagley. Sanctuary. Later.